Hello, I'm Dr. Sarah Williams, a pediatric specialist passionate about guiding parents through their child's physical, mental, and emotional growth journey. It begins innocently, a child sitting quietly with a phone, a tablet, or a gaming console, their small fingers gliding effortlessly over the glowing screen. Parents breathe a sigh of relief, thankful for a moment of silence, unaware that each passing minute is reshaping not just the child's mind, but their body, literally bending their future out of alignment. Doctors across the world are now warning about an alarming new condition among children, tech neck, a slow but serious transformation of the spine caused by prolonged mobile use. What once was a problem seen only in adults hunched over office desks is now showing up in kids as young as 6. When a child looks down at a screen, their head, which weighs roughly 10 to 12 pounds, shifts forward at an unnatural angle. At that moment, the force on the neck increases dramatically, sometimes to over 60 pounds of pressure. The body isn't built to handle that for hours every day. Over time, this constant strain weakens muscles, misaligns vertebrae, and flattens the natural curve of the neck. Pediatric physiotherapists now report cases where children develop early signs of cervical spine degeneration, something that used to take decades in adults. It's easy to dismiss this as harmless. After all, the pain isn't immediate. But what's happening inside is far more concerning. Tiny microtears form in the supporting tissues, blood flow decreases, and inflammation starts building quietly. The child might begin complaining of mild stiffness, headaches, or fatigue, symptoms parents often link to lack of sleep or study stress. But beneath those complaints, the structure supporting the brain and spinal cord is under assault. If left unchecked, this imbalance can affect posture permanently, limiting movement, breathing capacity, and even confidence. The posture of a child holding a phone tells a silent story. Shoulders rolled forward, chin dropped, back curved, eyes locked downward. Over months, that posture becomes habit. The body adapts to the position it spends the most time in. Eventually, even without a device, the child's neck remains slightly bent, the back rounded. Orthopedic specialists describe this as a kind of digital hunch, an unnatural posture that compresses nerves and can affect everything from vision to mood. When nerve compression occurs, it can lead to tingling in the arms, poor concentration, and even migraines. What makes this even more frightening is how early it begins. A toddler watching cartoons on a tablet, a 7-year-old playing mobile games for hours, a teenager scrolling endlessly through social media. They are all part of the same growing epidemic. The modern childhood experience has quietly shifted from playgrounds to screens, and while technology offers learning, connection, and entertainment, the physical cost is one we can no longer ignore. Yet, most parents don't see it coming because the damage develops invisibly. Unlike a scraped knee or a broken bone, the neck doesn't cry out for help, it endures. By the time discomfort appears, the underlying structure has already changed. Medical imaging reveals that many kids now exhibit the same spinal curvature as adults who've spent decades at a desk. Experts fear that if this continues, we're facing a generation with chronic neck and back issues before they even reach high school. But there's still hope. The first step toward reversing the damage is awareness, understanding what's happening beneath the surface. Every moment a child looks down at a screen is a chance to intervene, to teach better posture, to replace habits before they harden into lifelong problems. What's happening inside a child's body when they spend hours staring down at a screen is far more serious than most parents realize. Each time the head tilts forward, the spine strains to hold up the skull, and over time, this creates microstress fractures and tightens the surrounding muscles. The body adapts to the pressure by changing shape. The neck begins to curve inward, shoulders roll forward, and the upper back compensates by hunching. This isn't just about posture, it's structural damage that can set the stage for lifelong pain and misalignment. Pediatric chiropractors now report a rise in cases where children show early signs of what's called cervical kyphosis, a condition once seen only in older adults. It doesn't stop there. The imbalance caused by constant downward posture can compress nerves that run from the neck into the shoulders and arms, leading to numbness, tingling, and weakness. Some children complain about dropping objects, wrist pain, or unexplained fatigue in their hands during writing or playing sports. Parents often mistake these symptoms for clumsiness, but in reality, it's the nervous system struggling under physical strain. The spine isn't meant to hold a bowed head for hours on end, yet kids today spend 6 to 8 hours daily in that position, starting from preschool age. But posture is only part of the story. The brain also suffers in ways that are less visible but equally concerning. When a child maintains that forward head posture, blood flow to the brain can decrease, oxygen levels drop, and the brain compensates by slowing certain functions. This can lead to fatigue, poor concentration, and slower reaction times. Over time, it affects mood regulation, leading to irritability, anxiety, or even mild depression. The brain and body are deeply connected. When the body is strained, the brain reacts. This physical tension also interferes with hormones that control sleep and emotional balance. The blue light emitted from screens disrupts melatonin production, the hormone responsible for sleep. When children stay up late watching videos or playing games, their brains don't just lose rest, they lose recovery time. Deep sleep is when the body repairs the damage from the day, and without it, the micro tears in muscles and ligaments caused by poor posture don't heal properly. It becomes a vicious cycle. Screen time leads to bad posture, which leads to pain and restlessness, which then leads to more screen use as a distraction. Teachers and doctors have begun noticing patterns: children complaining of frequent headaches, difficulty focusing, and short tempers. Many of these kids also show the same postural issues: rounded shoulders, stiff necks, and a downward gaze. It's a physical and mental feedback loop. The posture of looking down doesn't just affect the spine, it communicates defeat to the brain. When you hunch, your chest compresses, your breathing becomes shallow, and your energy levels drop. For a developing child, that physical slump can slowly shape emotional patterns of fatigue and withdrawal. The saddest part is how quietly it happens. The pain doesn't come overnight. It builds layer by layer, minute by minute. A 5-year-old playing games on a tablet today could be a 15-year-old with chronic neck pain tomorrow. The spinal curvature formed in youth is far harder to correct later, even with therapy. And while most parents think of screen addiction as a behavioral issue, it's also a biomechanical one, a silent assault on the body's structure. The impact of mobile addiction on a child's brain is as alarming as what it does to their body. Every swipe, tap, and scroll releases dopamine, the brain's reward chemical. It's the same chemical triggered by sugar, excitement, and even gambling. Each time a child receives a notification, watches a video, or wins a game, a tiny burst of pleasure floods their brain. Over time, this constant stimulation rewires the brain's reward system, teaching it to crave the instant rush instead of long-term satisfaction. As this pattern deepens, children begin to lose patience for anything that requires sustained focus: reading, studying, or even simple conversations. The brain starts expecting rapid change and bright visuals, struggling to stay engaged with slower, real world experiences. Pediatric neurologists describe this as digital dopamine fatigue, where the brain becomes desensitized, needing more and more stimulation to feel the same level of excitement. At the same time, posture and addiction feed into each other. The slumped position of tech neck compresses the chest and lungs, reducing oxygen supply, which slows thinking and heightens irritability. The physical strain signals stress to the brain, which responds with fatigue and anxiety. Children become restless when not on their devices because their brains are both overstimulated and undernourished at once. This combination of chemical imbalance and physical misalignment creates a cycle that traps many young minds. Without realizing it, children stop finding joy in creative play or outdoor activities, turning instead to screens for comfort. The result is a generation of young bodies stiffened by technology and young minds shaped by addiction. Breaking the cycle of mobile addiction doesn't begin with punishment or strict rules. It starts with awareness and gentle correction. Children mirror what they see, so the first step for parents is modeling balanced screen behavior themselves. When families create tech free moments together, mealtime conversations, evening walks, or short reading sessions, they teach their children that life outside the screen is just as engaging. The body begins to respond almost immediately when posture improves and screen exposure decreases. Muscles relax, breathing deepens, and the brain receives more oxygen, which helps with focus and emotional regulation. Physical movement is one of the most effective antidotes to both tech neck and digital addiction. Encouraging kids to play sports, ride bikes, or even stretch for a few minutes every hour helps restore the natural curve of the spine. When children move, they release endorphins, chemicals that boost mood without overstimulating the brain like dopamine from screens does. Over time, this rebalances the brain's reward system, making physical activity and human interaction feel satisfying again. Limiting screen time works best when it feels like empowerment, not restriction. Instead of saying no phones, parents can create clear zones or times for use, like no devices at the table or before bedtime. Pairing these habits with positive replacements such as puzzles, music, or art keeps curiosity alive without feeding digital dependence. Gradually, children begin to rediscover real joy, the kind that doesn't come from pixels or notifications, but from movement, creativity, and connection. The posture straightens, the mind clears, and the tension that once weighed on their shoulders starts to fade. Healing from mobile addiction and postural strain requires more than limiting screen time. It demands a full body reset through consistent care, rest, and proper nourishment. The spine, like any other structure, depends on strong muscles and healthy tissues to maintain alignment. A diet rich in calcium, vitamin D, and omega-3 fatty acids supports bone density and reduces inflammation caused by poor posture. Simple meals like salmon, leafy greens, eggs, and nuts help rebuild strength where damage has already begun. Hydration is just as vital, keeping spinal discs flexible and resilient, preventing stiffness that amplifies pain. Equally important is sleep. Children glued to screens before bedtime often experience delayed melatonin release due to blue light exposure. This not only disrupts their sleep, but also slows the body's natural repair process. Establishing a digital sunset, turning off devices at least an hour before bed, gives the body time to relax, allowing the spine and muscles to heal overnight. Deep sleep is when the body corrects posture subconsciously, resetting tension and restoring balance to the nervous system. Gentle stretching or yoga before bed can help undo hours of stiffness. Simple movements like chin tucks or shoulder rolls teach the neck and back to return to their natural position. Parents who participate make it feel less like discipline and more like bonding. Over time, these routines rebuild not just posture, but connection, reminding both parent and child that wellness isn't about restriction, it's about alignment. The transformation is subtle at first: better focus, calmer behavior, fewer headaches. But beneath those small victories, the body is healing at its core. Restoring balance in a child's digital life isn't just about posture or screen limits, it's about reclaiming childhood itself. When parents help their kids lift their heads from the screen, they aren't only correcting alignment, they're giving them back the world they were meant to explore. The neck straightens, the spine strengthens, and slowly the light in their eyes returns. Fresh air, sunlight, laughter, and genuine social interaction start replacing the hollow glow of a device. What technology once stole in quiet moments of isolation can be rebuilt through connection, curiosity, and care. Healing the body and brain from mobile addiction takes patience, but it's a journey worth taking. Each time a child chooses to play outside instead of scrolling, their body rewires itself toward balance. The muscles that once tightened begin to loosen. The mind that once raced begins to calm. Over weeks, energy levels rise, moods stabilize, and confidence grows. The child begins to carry themselves differently: shoulders back, chin lifted, heart open. Technology will always be part of modern life, but it doesn't have to control it. The goal isn't to reject progress, but to guide it wisely. By creating structure, modeling balance, and nurturing physical health, parents can ensure screens serve as tools, not traps. The difference between a damaged spine and a strong one, between distraction and focus, lies in daily choices: how we move, what we eat, how we rest, and when we disconnect. In the end, preventing tech neck isn't just about protecting bones, it's about preserving potential. The greatest gift we can give this generation is awareness, teaching them that their bodies are not made for endless scrolling, but for growth, discovery, and standing tall in both mind and spirit.